9:30 a.m. and start with Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the record show that all three commissioners are present: Commissioner Smith, Commissioner Price, Commissioner Stone. We have no one from the public to be recognized, so we will move on with a review of the bills.
I move we pay the bills.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to pay the bills that have been properly presented and approved. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. We have a tax correction on the agenda.
Yes. For the clerical errors, we did all of them. I'll just go pull those here. Out of 106.
At this time, I move that we approve this tax correction listed here by the assessor.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the tax correction for Richard G. Huff in the amount of $108.48. Clerical error. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes. All right, moving right along, we'll go with our 9:31 appointment with Joe LaRue, our facilities manager, with an update.
Good morning, Commissioners, and good morning, everybody.
Morning.
I hope that everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving with their family. Just a very quick maintenance update this morning. On the courthouse, just several little heat calls, and we're working through them and fixing them as they come in. On the annex building, on the sewer smell on the second floor across from the commissioner's office, we found last Tuesday that every bathroom has a fan to exhaust, and it, in fact, up on the roof did not have a fan motor to exhaust the bad smell. Now, in fact, it does have one.
Okay.
So that has helped a lot. There is still a small issue with the volume of water that comes to the flush valve of each toilet. Like, we increase the pressure, but there's just not enough volume of water with the small pipes coming up. But we will very quickly come to a solution to that as well. So, also at the annex, there's a pesky fire alarm beeper. And we are working our way through that to get that resolved. We knew that the fire alarm company, the first thing they would say is, it's the phone line. So we had the phone lines checked last Wednesday afternoon, and they proved to be okay. So now today, the fire alarm company will come, and hopefully we'll get all this beeping business straightened out. At the sheriff's office, the roof is coming along nicely, even with the bad weather. The problem is, commissioners, is we had hoped that they would go to the bad part first, so that we'd know how to proceed, and we would know if there was in fact going to be extra added cost. And I wish they would have started there, but in fact, they waited to that spot last. So they did put in a price for the rest of the roof, but I cannot advise the commissioners to entertain another offer until we know the extent of the damage on the original roof. So we will put that on hold. On the animal shelter, things are going along very nicely. We've known since the leaves all fell, the gutters was completely full of not only leaves and water. And when the cold weather came, they was backing up with ice. So Danny and I was able to go over yesterday and get all the leaves straightened out and the gutters cleaned and looking nice. On the 911 center, we had a leak back in the mechanical room. It was a hot water leak. We finally found it. And last week we was able to get all the fittings and drain down the tank and repair all the fits. So we've checked several times now since then, and it seems to be working fine. So finally we got the hot water leak fixed. And everybody, we was also able to help them hook up the water on their ice maker on their new refrigerator. So we was able to. On the McGrew house, last but not least, I'm going to meet here in just a little while with the folks from Veritas to have an assessment of the roof. where that leak was, that we have never, me or the maintenance staff in the past have never worked on the roof. So we will have them look at that and see what they think and be able to advise the commissioners, what the extent and where the roof is at and what needs to be done to it. So with that being said, we won't go over our time limit. Thank you all very much and have a great week.
Have a good day, Joe. Thank you. All right, next up, we have Roberta Baylor. She's our EDA director with some information on grant.
I'm here asking for our annual resolution for the local economic development LED grant through the state of West Virginia. It is overseen by the West Virginia Department of Economic Development, and we do need a resolution every year to apply for that grant that says we are the lead economic development organization in the county. And I think you all have copies of that resolution.
This time, I move that we proclaim this local economic development grant program resolution of participation and cooperation. And authorize the president to sign.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to proclaim the Preston County Economic Development Authority as our main vein for Preston County, and authorize the president to sign this form, making it official. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
So along with this, the LED grant provides us $22,727 a year. And I know that your budget has been tight the last few years, but we would like to once again ask that you remember the EDA when you do your budget in the coming year. And I'd also like to remind you that legislation changed about 2 years ago that the CVB money is now eligible for economic development. So that is a source of funding that was not available.
I remember that.
Is now available.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hotel motel.
Yes.
Yes, the hotel motel tax. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Well, are you attesting to my signature here? Didn't know if it was the clerk needed to, or you said.
Just any witness, any old witness.
I think in that case, it's anybody.
Larry, you can copy it. Would that be okay? That would be okay. We can do that.
Okay, our 9:40 appointment canceled out today, so we'll move on with our normal business of the minutes.
At this time, I move that we approve the minutes for November 9th.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the minutes for November 9th, 2022. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes.
We have two estates from the clerk, Mitchell and Mitchell. Move we approve those.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to approve the estate settlement list, November 15th through November 15th, 2022 for Mitchell and Mitchell. Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Yes. PIVs?
At this time, I move that we discuss and read these, but in the record for November 17th through the 23rd.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to dispense with the readings of the proceedings and vacation and enter them into record for November 17th through November 23rd, 2022. Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Price?
Yes.
Yes. Brings us to our old business. Do we have anything to discuss for CARES today?
Nothing compares.
All right, ARPA funding?
I only point out that you do have updated that are ready to go, and I believe most, if not all, will be available to do a signing next week,
Okay,
and then another 3 the following week.
okay.
Great.
All right, thank you. EMS discussion, we do have the advisory meeting is coming up this Thursday, December 1st. Anything else that
Oh, yeah. I'm wondering if maybe we could take care of the ordinance ingredients, and one of the things that we can cross the bridge would be how it's dispersed and how it's done, but I think that we can put a number on it based on what Dawn had from the gap.
As far as like per
Figures.
house and stuff like
Well,
that?
that would lead to that. In other words, if we know the gap.
That'd be the
and we know the
overall
addresses,
number, and then once we get the number from Matt.
Yeah.
of The actual residents.
then we could immediately put that into.
You can divide it out, and
Yeah.
figure it out.
I don't know where else we could go with the thing, to keep it moving. I mean, I think it's important we keep it moving. So that's just my suggestion. And, I think we can do everything and then fill in the blanks on the numbers. We have agreed that businesses would be billed in a certain fair way. We have agreed that we would like to see a homestead exemption. We have, I think, agreed that we want the annual fee as low as it could be, knowing that each year when the budget is done for the EMS system, it could be adjusted if that was necessary, or they could have an automatic in there. I think we all agree that we want to hold back a certain percentage of it for a rainy day or special equipment purchases or an expansion of something that would cause an expense that, if we decide to open up another station or do something, we'd either have to help the current providers to do that, or we would have to do it ourselves. So that's going to be decided. I think a draft, this is going to have drafts in my mind. I'm thinking that we keep kicking the can, and I just wanted to put a draft together. Dawn has kind of one that's.
Yes, have you gotten him your changes
And,
and
well,
notes?
I don't have any changes to that. I think that we need to sit around the table and take it and go through each part of it and
Do
say,
you
okay.
want,
Yeah.
Samantha, you said you had some things you wanted.
I do, I'm still working through, because
If you
there's
was-
just some comparisons that I'm still working through. But mine is the one that I like the best is the Hampshire County, so I'm still,
What do you like best about it?
well, I just like, when we went up, and I really like the fact that, how it's run, how it's organized, and the part, that I really, the collection I think is good. But there's some things in the Hardy, but the Hardy fee is way too, we can't do that.
Complicated.
It's very complicated, so, I'm just trying to pick some of the perks.
Well, that's kind of what I'm doing and I've done. I think I'm ready to sit around the table and go through it and then give it to the ordinance folks in our prosecutor's office and let them.
Well, I'll tell you
Put it
what I
together.
can do, Samantha, if you do go ahead and give me your information, what I can do is I can flesh out that one. And like I said, the one I had started with was Hampshire counties and also Morgan. It was kind of a mold of the two, because that seemed to be what everyone seemed to be the most agreeable to, and they seemed the most straightforward and weren't as complicated. And then we can go from there. We did suggest, and I will put this in there, that for businesses, like a $10 per head, I guess the best way to say it, up to a certain limit. I don't know that you want to go too high because, and get too complicated, but like $10 per employee or $5, whatever. I can leave that blank and we can figure it out.
That's what I'm saying, those things.
Exactly, and that's what I did with the draft I gave you guys. I just put a blank amount. I would just put XX for the amount. I didn't put the fee amount. I just put XX. So, and really that does boil down to how many households, how many businesses and things like that. Once he gets us that number, we can do the math pretty easily and figure out, okay, this is what it should be, And
Yeah.
of that number of residences, how many will get homestead exemption at this present time, so we'll just kind of use that as the number to gauge on that and say, okay, if, say 30% of the residences are homestead, I'm just throwing a number out there, we can figure that out and leave that in there, and use that to play it out. It's not a difficult math thing to do, so.
Yeah, I
figured all that out.
like I say, I think that we'll get that information from Matt probably in the next week or two.
Yeah, what do you think, dude? See,
I would hope.
I would think so too. The way he talked, I don't think it'd be an issue.
He did provide updated spreadsheet last week.
Yeah.
So it is on it.
Okay.
It's about the same.
What I'll do is
Yeah, it's the same.
I'll flush out that draft that I did
There's,
and put the rest of the definitions and stuff we had talked about in it. And then like I said, if there's any more you guys want, I'll email it to you so you can take a look at it. It won't have the numbers in it yet, obviously, until we get something back from him. But at least that'll give us a starting point. So when we get the numbers, we can put that in there and figure it out and move on. So,
Maybe in 2 weeks, we could sit around the table and go through it and put a pencil to some of the information that we have. I think we'd be pretty good to eliminate that. We don't want to do the businesses like they do in Hardy County.
no,
We don't wanna
I'm
do the-
dead excited against
But
that.
we want a homestead exemption, and the agricultural properties would be protected in.
Right, and that was part of the one that I did up was that.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so let's do 2 weeks from now.
As if there's anything you want to particularly add, just email it to me and I'll get it to you guys.
All right, brings us to Joe.
That's what we ought to put. Joe time. Joe's.
yes, you've already had your joke.
Yeah, we had a Joe time.
First up on the list is a request to hire. Ms. Goff has been helping us out since the beginning of September. We had hoped to use her more toward this time, but with the spaniel situation and the like, things
Yeah.
got overwhelming for the current employees. We now have an employee on maternity leave, and that is going to run through probably the middle of February. So with that, we'd like to keep Ms. Goff around for another 10 weeks. So I'm asking that the commission approve another 10 weeks of Ms. Goff at 18 hours per week at a rate of $12 per hour.
So moved.
I'll second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to extend our extra help at the animal shelter. Miss Nicole LaRue Golf, as is listed on her paperwork here, at the rate of $12 per hour. The extension is starting December 1st and will run through February. Up to 18 hours a week. Commissioner Rice,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith.
Yes.
Yes.
I will also point out that our other extra help, Ally Martin, did come home for the Thanksgiving holiday, and she was able to give us a couple of days worth of help as well, so that was appreciated. PEIA, I hope to have a little more information for you. Still waiting on a couple of emails on that, but I did get you the list of the counties that did respond to everywhere concerning the PEIA usage, and it really is overwhelmingly PEIA, so it's matching those numbers.
It's actually kind of down to PEIA, and the other leading one is Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Yeah, and the health plan really does seem to be more for the northern panhandle, which makes sense. They were East Ohio, northern West
Yeah, that
Virginia.
makes sense. It's depends on where you're at in the state. Yeah. Exactly.
We don't know anything more because they're not done with the hearings, but they've given us warnings on how much they're going to increase, they believe.
The 9.7 is set in stone at this point. On
Next year.
the following years, there may be some variation on those estimates. And I have a couple of calendar suggestions for you. The James Isaac House is inviting everyone to an open house on Friday, December 9th from 11 to 5.
I saw that, yeah.
It's up on Main Street, so there's that. And then on December 11th at 2 o'clock, they are holding a retirement reception for Joel Bean at the Kingwood Library.
Yeah,
So if you'd like to mark those on the calendars, those are available. With that, that's all I have for today.
That's pretty simple, huh?
All right, commissioner comments?
Won't be here next week. We had a meeting of the insurance risk pool. But I will be back.
Okay. I'll be back.
That's all I can say about that. We have that thing with EDA this week,
Tomorrow.
and we have a EMS meeting the next day. Next week. It's a busy one too. Okay.
Commissioner Smith?
I have a solid waste board meeting next week. I'll say several meetings besides that. A workforce meeting next week also, and some other things, but overall, not too bad if everybody did have nice things, kids cooperated really nicely over the weekend, so it worked out well.
Anything else, Linda? Connie, good? Good, all right, this meeting is adjourned.
I think that's the quickest meeting I've ever.
We had a cancellation?
Yeah, Amanda was sick.
Oh, yeah.